Hi, I'm Lola Allen, and I went to Shades about 2.5 years ago for anorexia.
And I'm Jennifer. I'm Lola's mom, and I was able to attend Shades with Lola during the week of intensive.
So, my story kind of begins when about 3 years ago I weighed myself and I thought that the number on the scale was too high, and then I just began a cycle of comparison and just I thought that that wasn't good enough. So then I began just like really focusing on losing weight, and I tried to do it in a healthy way at first, but once I started like cutting back on food, I thought what I was eating was too much, so I cut back, and then that was too much, I cut back. And whenever I saw the scale start dropping and dropping and dropping, then there was gratification, and I was like, oh, like this is working. It got really out of hand, and at first I did it in a way to control, but once it started taking over and controlling me, then that began a very big problem. My mom had seen, she, from like the outside, she saw my clothes were just hanging off of me, all of that. She saw that I was eating less, and she just had like a honest conversation with me. I had kind of opened up with her that I was starving myself, and then that's whenever she wanted to do something about it.
We are a family of 5, and so Lola has an older and a younger sister, and they're all very close. And when Lola had just opened up, it was something I'm like, okay, we're just gonna work on this, which was kind of a red flag because these girls share everything, and she didn't want her sisters knowing about this. And she was like, okay, I'll eat. I'll do what I'm supposed to. And she wasn't. And then there was one day at the beginning of summer 3 years ago that I said, this is it. I'm sick of the secrets. And so Lola had to tell her sisters and her dad that she had been starving herself. And it was really devastating. And hearing her sisters tell her, why would you do this? You're beautiful. And as we learn more about anorexia, is that it's a disease, and it wasn't just something Lola was choosing to do every day, that it was a disease that had taken over her. We had someone that we knew that knew someone from Shades, and they, just kind of heard Lola's story, and thankfully they were willing to accept Lola to come, even though she was 15. But they said that I had to come with her, and it wasn't even a second thought. I was gonna do it. Looking back on it now, I wish her dad, we would have brought him and her sisters too, just to go through this as a family, because when you're 15, it's a family thing. We're all doing this together. And so when we went to Shades, it was the unknown. It was scary. We didn't know what was going on. We didn't know what was going to happen, but I knew like I was going to lose my daughter if we didn't go. And from the minute we walked in the door, we knew we were in the right place. I would think Kim hugged you, and she grabbed your hands and she said, your hands are so cold. And just learning all of the signs were just all over Lola. And it was just so eye-opening and so real. And from the second we got there, we jumped right in. And I'm very thankful for that. We weren't wasting any time, and Penny and Kim were real with us. They were real with Lola, and I let them do that. I didn't try to step in. So at Shades, one of the things that we learned was naming your feelings. This came in super handy once we got home too, and honestly for the past 2.5 years, because when things start getting hard, or when things are just not hard and they're good, I'll just say, tell me what you're thinking. And it's just everything. It's not everything. It's like I feel anger one of the things Lola would feel angry about is things that she thought her sisters could do that she couldn't do, and it had to do with food. But the same things didn't apply to them that applied to Lola, because we were like in the fight of our life to save Lola's life. They also, when we were there, Tenny and Kim, it was the last morning, they had me come in and they said, we're asking that Lola is homeschooled for the next month. She had just started her sophomore year of high school. She was 15. She was playing volleyball. And so I said, well, what about volleyball? And they said, that's done too. It took her grandparents helping. She would stay with her grandparents 2 days a week. And then I changed stuff with my job so that I could be home with Lola 3 days a week. Actually, Lola came to work with me a couple days. It was just how it was gonna be. It was probably the worst month of her life, because I'm like, you're coming to work with me. After that month, she decided to go back to school, and
it started out okay, but then I realized, like, oh, I don't have as many eyes on me anymore. And so I kind of used that opportunity to become sneaky again. I would hide my snacks or like give them to my friends at school, and then I began to spiral again. And that was shortly after just starting school again. So then my parents had another talk with me, and my mom had been reaching out to Kim and Tenny, and they thought it was the best decision for me to finish the first semester of my sophomore year homeschooled. So I did that and just started like implementing more, taking it more seriously, recovery. And whenever I first left Shades, I had to do an exercise where I would write 100 I am statements and 100 I can statements, and I had to write them in my journal. And Kim and Tenny both were like, even if you don't believe it, like whenever you look yourself in the mirror, just say it over and over, and eventually you'll believe it. And I would have never thought that that would work, and genuinely it has helped me so much. I ended up dropping it down to like 10 each, but yeah, that was very helpful.
And we started doing that with our family too. We learned what family meetings were from Shades, and we brought that home, and we were doing it. And we've done it now for the last 2.5 years. And it's on the calendar that says family meeting, and we have the original papers from it, and they are shredded, but there's something to be said behind that. It was difficult at the beginning. Actually, it was difficult for several months, but it was just something that we were going to do. It wasn't even an option. What Tenny and Kim did, and the recommendations they gave us a cookbook when we came home. I feel like that was comfort for Lola, because Lola was eating 3 meals a day, a snack at Shades, and it was a lot of food, but she was still losing weight. And so it was very eye-opening that with everything she was eating and still losing weight, It, I didn't know what to do when I came home, so them giving me a cookbook that I could just go off of, it gave measurements, everything for portion size for her, and so I think it was comfort for both of us. Just where we're at now, Lola just graduated high school. Kim and Tinny, I threw out, and actually Lola reached out to them over the last 2.5 years, just sending like pictures like, this is a milestone, this is where Lola's at, we're starting junior year. She played volleyball the last 2 years of school. They also, some of the things that they did, they kind of aligned Lola up with support groups to have, like, the resources were all there, we just had to do them. And I guess myself and her dad had to do them, and Lola just really didn't have a choice, because we were gonna do it, or she wouldn't be sitting here next to me today. And I weighed her every morning, took her vitals every morning, and that was scary, because when we came home she kept losing weight and kept losing weight. But all of these things had purpose behind them, and it was all things that Tenny and Kim and Shades had lined up, that if I just followed the program and their recommendations, it was going to work. And I didn't give up. Our family didn't give up, and the day that things just kind of turned for Lola, things in her health started improving. It was wonderful. And I think the biggest thing that I wished we had done was taken our whole family and experienced this as a family, so that when we came home, we had all experienced it. I needed Shades as much as Lola did, and I thought I was going for her. But she's graduated high school, and she's got big plans to do. I'm going to say just kind of how things have been, like, the last 2.5 years. It's not always easy.
Yeah. So the last 2.5 years, really, like, it hasn't been just like this uphill, like, oh, like, things are great all the time. Like, there definitely been, like, their ups and downs. But I'm thankful for me that I had my mom there. She was able to have, like, the skills to help me whenever I didn't have the energy. I did not have any energy at all. Like, there were times where my mom literally had to, like, help me out of bed, and I'm thankful that she was able to have the skills to help me for the days where I literally couldn't do it on my own. And so, yeah, and for the days where I couldn't do it for me, I wanted to do it for her and for my family, so that I could become the best version of myself for them.
So we just say thank you. And the really cool thing about Lola now is that Lola has talked about anorexia to other girls. She's sensitive to things that she sees. There was a girl that she kind of got connected with that had anorexia, and they would send pictures of, like, hey, this is what I'm having for dinner, this is what, so, like, a support. But I think our eyes were just opened, and we've just been able to share the experience, and Lola is not ashamed of the experience, and just everything that she's gone through, she's using it as part of her story. And do you want to?
Yeah, that's pretty much.
She talked to her whole youth group at church and did her whole testimony among all of her peers, and there's just no shame in any of it. And I think it's because we can just talk about it and put it out there and own it and recover. And
you always said, like, through it, I never, like, understood it at the time, but my mom would always say, like, if you're going through this to help one person, it'll be worth it. And
Yes.
Yep.
And another big thing for me is that I always knew that I was not hurting Lola by putting a plate of food in front of her and telling her she had to eat. And so I had to detach myself from feelings of her tears, the time she would yell and scream at me, and just how angry she would get because I put food in front of her. And just knowing that I can't let myself get emotionally affected by her emotions. And I feel like Shades helped me to do that as well. So I'm very thankful for the whole experience. And yeah, if Lola's story helps one person, and me being able to walk alongside her and help her, help someone else, it's worth it.
Mm-hmm.